We're going to take a look at the rarest Barracuda and Cuda options in cars. And I'm guessing the first one you haven't even heard of. Let's go check them out. The first rare option is sales and fender code M46. It's rare because it was only offered on the 1970 Barracuda model and not the Cuda or Grand Coupe. The M46 option is called a corner panel air scoop. Let's examine what it is and what was included with the air scoops. The scoops were screwed on both sides of the car to the lower quarter panels between the side doors and rear wheels. In addition to the scoops, the lower body section was painted with black paint that ran down both sides of the car. The front grille and lower valance were blacked out, as well as the rear taillight panel and lower valance. Between the lower black paint and the upper car paint were two thin stripes. The lower stripe was white and the upper stripe red. Some people say there were also blue and white stripes as an option, but I haven't found any verification of that. The original Survivor cars only have red and white, and a Chrysler engineering illustration of the M46 option only mentions red and white stripes. The air scoops are small. They had an elastomeric rubber coating placed over sheet metal or aluminum. The scoops were non-functional. Unofficial production numbers for M46 cars are a total of about 433, and 15 of them were convertibles. The M46 package only cost an additional $35.80. One of the reasons why you never see one, besides only being available on the base Barracuda, it wasn't available on a car with side molding or vinyl body side protection, or a car that had the front and rear elastomeric bumper package. In addition, many of the base Barracudas have been cloned into Cudas, where the scoops would be removed, or the ones that opted to keep a Barracuda the way it was and repaint it, they often didn't install the scoops because the sheet metal ones are known to get rusty. And to find a replacement, well, good luck with that. Aftermarket companies aren't making the scoops. Some of these cars are probably out there without the scoops, so you wouldn't know without checking the fender tag. And some people may not even know their car was optioned to have it if their fender tags and build sheets are missing. If you're wondering why they weren't available on a Cuda or Grand Coupe, well, they have lower rocker panels which would interfere with the scoops. A Motor Trend buyer's guide has a picture of a 71 with the same lower black paint scheme, but no scoops. I haven't seen a 71 with the paint scheme, but that car may have been a pilot or test car, like this 1970 Barracuda with the paint scheme and a long hockey stick stripe. If you have a BH Barracuda, you may want to check the fender tag for the M46 code. The second rare Barracuda option was also for 1970, the V4 Strobe Stripes. On January 28, 1970, Chrysler announced to their dealers that two high-impact exterior colors would be available, and 4 new wide-body side tape stripes running the full length of the car would be available for the Barracuda car line. About a month later, Chrysler announced the new stripes would be available for production approximately March 9th. Here is a list of the new stripes and what color paint they were available with. So the two new high-impact paints was Sassy Grass Green and Moulin Rouge. One of the reasons for their rarity is the availability date after the start of the 70 production run. Also, there doesn't seem to be much advertisement material promoting them at all. The new stripes would not be available with the vinyl protection side moldings or the sport stripes. What do you think of these stripes? Let us know in the comments below. The next rare Barracuda option came during the mid-1970 production run. Plymouth released a Barracuda Coupe. A93 package is what it was called. It was a low-end Barracuda that had fixed rear side quarter glass instead of roll-down windows, low-grade interior with rubber floor covering instead of carpet, a single horn instead of a double, and came standard with the 198 slant 6. Instead of a crank for the rear window, a chrome plug was put in its place for 1970. For 71, it was a color-matched plastic plug. The coupe only lasted 2 years, mid-1970 and 71. At the start of 1970, 3 Barracuda models were available. A Barracuda Grand Coupe convertible was one of them and rare. They only produced about 596 of them. A Grand Coupe was its own model, and its VIN started with BP instead of the Barracuda BH or Cuda BS. The interior of the Grand Coupe included leather trim bucket seats, a roof-mounted consolette joined to a deluxe molded headliner. The consolette has low gas, door ajar, and fastened seatbelt warning lights. There's also a small map light. There's wood grain accent trim on the interior door and rear side panels. If you enjoy checking out classic cars like these, then click the subscribe button below to be notified of my future videos. On the exterior of the Grand Coupes, there were fender and rear panel Grand Coupe crest emblems, grooved lower sill moldings, wheel opening fender moldings, argent rear deck panel with bright outline molding, and bright outline moldings around the grille opening. The 71 Grand Coupe is rarer because they only produced a total of about 1,615 of them. Rumor has it that Chrysler toyed with the idea of a 4-door Barracuda, and one former Chrysler employee claims to have seen it at the Highland Park facility back in the day. It seems they are all just rumors. And a famous Chrysler designer said that he worked there from 62 to 72, and there was never even talks about a 4-door car. Well, if one did exist, this car here is not it, because this car was built by ESC Automotive Concepts as a what-if project. They probably got their money back and some more because the car sold at a Mecum auction in 2023 for $121,000. The next rare car is the 1969 M-code Barracuda. At the start of the 69 model year, the largest engine you could get in a production Barracuda was the 383. Later in 1969, Chrysler made the 440 engine optional, and the car was designated with the M-code in the VIN as a special engine option. The exact production numbers are not available, maybe about 360 or so, but very few of them have survived. All of them came with the 440 rated with 375 horsepower, matched to an automatic transmission with the console shifter. Due to the tight fit inside the engine compartment, they didn't have power steering or brakes. And the left side exhaust manifold and motor mount is unique to these cars. By the way, this M-code sold at auction in 2024 for $51,700 and was for sale the day I took this video 9 months later. They were asking $76,900. 4 months ago, it sold at auction for $78,000. This 68 Barracuda is a one of one. It was a prototype for the BO29 Barracuda super stock car. It was their test mule. It started life as a 344 speed. It was modified to fit in the 426 race Hemi engine and other specialty parts that ended up in the super stock cars. And speaking of the super stock cars, that's our next rare one, a 68 Barracuda BO29 super stock. In 1968, Chrysler produced 2 lightweight factory race Hemi cars. One of them was the 1968 Hemi Barracuda. They were delivered to the buyers in gray primer and the fiberglass front ends were black. They weren't painted because Plymouth knew the cars were going to professional race teams who would customize them to their liking for the drag strips. To save weight, the Hemi cars came with a fiberglass hood and fenders, acid-dipped steel doors, thin gauge front bumper, thin glass for the windows, no window cranks or hardware, no rear seat, no radio, no heater or AC. And the fold-down bucket seats were lightweight from an A100 van. The next rare Barracuda is the 71 Hemi Cuda. They only produced about 114 of them. In 71, the Hemi retained its compression and horsepower, not like all the other engines. The 71 convertible Hemi Cuda is super rare. They only produced about 12 of them in total. Sticking with 71 Cudas, another rare one, but not as rare as the Hemi, is the 446 barrel cars. Plymouth produced about 254 of them in total. In 71, the 6-barrel was rated with 385 horsepower, 5 less than the previous years. And good luck finding a convertible 6-barrel because they only produced about 17 of them in 1971. Let's take a look at the next rare Cuda. Chrysler customized 4 cars in the early 70s to lure young buyers and create attention to their models. The cars included a 1970 Duster 340, a 70 Hemi Roadrunner, a 71 Roadrunner, and a 1970 Cuda known as the Rapid Transit Cuda. The cars traveled the country and the traveling car show was a huge hit. The Cuda was hidden away for over 50 years and is now back in the limelight. The Cuda is an extremely early production car with the serial number of 100005. The original 446 barrel engine is still in the car and it's matched to an automatic transmission. Today, the odometer reads a little less than 1,000 miles. The custom paint currently on the car was used for the second year of promotion. The original custom paint included white, silver, lime green, and charcoal. 2 years ago, this car went to the auction and was sold for $2 million. The next rare option is the Barracuda Mod top. It was only produced 2 years, 69 and 70. It is a flowery design available for vinyl tops or interior seats and door panels. Different configurations were available like the top or interior only or a combination of both. There were 3 available colors including the yellow green and black, blue, and green, or the green, gold, and light blue. In total, there were fewer than 2,900 produced over the 2 years for Plymouth and Dodge combined. The most common cars that had them was 69 Satellites and Barracudas. It's believed that Dodge produced none of them in 1970 and was only found on the Barracuda or Cuda for that year. Rumor has it local dealers having a difficult time selling these cars off the lot would strip off the mod top and replace it with a traditional vinyl colored top to sell the car easier. There is a super rare 70 Hemi Cuda. Unfortunately, it was stolen from a garage in New York back in 2016 and to this day hasn't been found or recovered. The two-tone Barracuda or Cuda cars are also very rare. They are known as the VO2 car. The top is painted a different color than the rest of the body. They almost look like a vinyl top from afar. Not many cars were painted with this option, and today it's very rare to see one. Also, some of the original VO2 cars were repainted one color. The AAR Cudas were limited production cars in 1970. Their purpose was to satisfy the Trans Am racing requirement to have a street version of the race car used at the track. They only produced about 2,724 of them. The 4-speed cars are more rare like this one, especially with the front and rear elastomeric bumper package. The AAR was based on a Cuda, and the letters stood for All American Racer. On the outside, it had a hinged fiberglass hood painted black with the functional hood scoop. Down the sides are reflective strobe stripes. The driver's side mirror was a racing style mirror and it was painted the same color as the body. In the rear is a ducktail spoiler and a rear-mounted radio antenna. The low restriction dual exhaust system exits out the side with the trumpet-style shaped openings. The staggered size tires, wider in the back than the front, was the first time a car rolled out of Detroit with such a feature. Those tires were mounted onto standard rally wheels. This AAR has the optional bench seat, making it more rare because most of them came with the standard bench seat. Under the hood is a 346 barrel that came with 3 2-barrel Holley carburetors, factory rated with a conservative 290 horsepower and 345 pounds of torque. Check out some Barracuda metal signs for the garage that can be customized with your name or year. Check it out at vintagecarmerch.com. I'll see you in the next one.